Before the world burned, Jake was a legend, the greatest treasure hunter alive. From ancient ruins to the ocean floor, if something was lost, Jake would find it. He lived for the thrill, free beneath the waves, until the day the sun turned on humanity. A massive solar flare struck, frying every circuit on Earth. Governments vanished, cities starved, and warlords rose from the ashes. 6 years later, England was a graveyard of the old world. But Jake was still hunting treasure. In a crumbling hotel, he discovered a hidden room behind a bookshelf. A few well-placed explosives, a jolt of battery power, and the door gave way. Inside, a safe with a coded lock. Jake studied the fingerprints, pieced together the password, and unlocked a secret within a secret, a priceless violin. But his victory didn't last. Armed thugs in fake police gear burst in, demanding the violin. Jake refused. Gunfire erupted. He moved like a ghost, cutting down each attacker until one blade, wired with an explosive, ended the fight for good. Later, Jake delivered the violin to a warlord who called himself King August. The king's assistant offered another job, a dangerous one across the channel. Jake refused, uneasy about the self-proclaimed royalty. Back at his home, a wrecked boat on the docks, Jake fed his dog, counted his supplies, and drifted into dreams of sailing free again. But morning brought trouble. A soldier caught in one of Jake's traps warned him. The king wanted a word. At a warehouse, surrounded by guards, August made his offer again, this time with temptation. A brand new boat in exchange for one impossible job: find the Mona Lisa, hidden deep in a secret vault beneath the ruins of Paris. For a man like Jake, some treasures are impossible to resist. Before leaving, Jake returns home for one last goodbye. He kneels beside his dog, promising he'll come back, and if he doesn't, August's assistant will take care of him. At the airport, Jake's nerves spike. The plane waiting for him is riddled with bullet holes. August lays out a map pointing to safe routes and rebel zones, warning that a contact in the city center will guide him once he lands. 3 hours after retrieving the Mona Lisa, an evac team will pick him up, if he's still alive. That evening, the plane takes off. The young pilot acts confident, but Jake can see through it. The controls are shaky, the fuel's low, and there's no plan B. When Jake admits he's never used a parachute, the pilot laughs nervously. Eventually, Jake drifts to sleep, dreaming again of the open sea, and a woman by his side. The dream shatters with gunfire. The plane jerks violently. They're under attack. The pilot dodges what he can, but shouts that they'll have to jump early. Jake bails, parachute snapping open as the burning sky swallows the horizon. He crashes hard, bruised but alive. The ground is a nightmare. Fires everywhere. Rebels hanging from poles. A tank bursts through the ruins, its cannon aimed at him, until a missile rips it apart. Rebels emerge from the smoke, finishing the soldiers before vanishing into the chaos. Hours later, Jake reaches the ruined city of Amiens. It's ruled by Vulov, a ruthless warlord who treats war like chess and kills anyone who can't play. His lieutenant Gorich reports an intruder fell from the sky. Vulov smiles coldly and sends his men to hunt. By morning, Jake makes it to Saint-Quentin. The town reeks of fear and starvation. He swaps his clothes for rags and blends in, watching soldiers execute rebels to prove their control. But when they corner him and demand his bag, Jake makes his move, smashing, trapping, and striking with brutal precision. Even in a dying world, Jake still knows how to survive. A soldier lunges at Jake with a knife, but Jake turns the blade back on him. Quick, brutal, efficient. The fight ends in seconds. Just as Jake catches his breath, another soldier steps from the shadows, gun raised. But before he can fire, his throat is slit cleanly. From behind the chaos emerges Drea, August's contact. She's been watching Jake all along, testing him to see if he could survive what's ahead. Moving through the city's war-torn streets, they blend into crowds, but a general's sharp eyes catch them. They duck into a church, where Father Samson waits with a stolen rebel map, their next lead. In his garage, Samson reveals a battered truck he's been fixing. While he preps it, Drea quietly tends to Jake's wounds. Then, the rumble of engines. Soldiers surround the church. Samson steps outside to stall them, insisting he's alone. They don't buy it. He shoots the general, wounding him, and is killed instantly. Inside, Drea and Jake make their move. When soldiers burst into the garage, Drea ambushes them, fast, fierce, unstoppable. Jake fires up the truck, but the blaring radio gives them away. A tank shell smashes through the wall as the duo crashes out through the garage door. Bullets rain down, but the truck doesn't flinch. It's bulletproof. Jake floors it, hitting a ramp that sends them flying over the tank. The soldiers give chase on bikes. At a checkpoint, Jake barrels through, leaping the barricade as chaos erupts behind them. More soldiers close in. A tank fires, missing by inches. Drea shouts directions, leading Jake into a tunnel, bikers on their tail. They burst out the other side and straight into another tank's sights. The cannon roars. Jake swerves, surviving by seconds. Surrounded, Drea tosses a grenade, wiping out the bikers. The tank fires again. But Jake makes the truck leap, and the blast destroys their pursuers instead. The chase isn't over, but for now, they've lived to fight another mile. Jake swerves hard, dodging the cannon blast as it slams into their pursuers instead. With their enemies down, he and Drea finally speed towards Soily, the road quiet for the first time. That night, they rest under a broken sky. Jake wonders why people keep dying for a painting. Drea tells him it's not about art, it's about power. The Mona Lisa is a cover. The vault thereafter holds weapons that could change the war. Before they sleep, she folds a small origami boat and hands it to him. For luck, and maybe for hope. Elsewhere, Vulov arrives in St. Quentin aboard his armored train. Furious that 2 rebels wiped out his entire squad, he kills the general who dares speak. Mercy has no place in his empire. In Soily, Jake and Drea reach an old building, the supposed vault site. Drea tenses. The place belongs to the Wraiths, cannibal ex-inmates who rule the ruins. A flare erupts nearby. Someone's tracking them. Inside, blood stains the walls, and the vault stands empty. Its steel door freshly blown off. Jake inspects the scene and realizes everything inside was moved somewhere else. Upstairs, spent shells line the floor, signs of a last stand. In an old cabinet, Jake finds a hidden notebook. Drea translates the notes and gets coordinates, but Jake doesn't trust it. Using a cipher from the map, he decodes the real message. Simshof, a fortress, their true destination. The Wraiths close in. As the duo escapes through a window, Jake leaves a grenade on the doorknob. The explosion wipes their hunters out. Back in the truck, Drea radios the rebels, telling them to meet at Simshof. Moments later, Vulov's train arrives at Soily. He spots their tire tracks, finds the notebook, and uses a UV light to expose Drea's fingerprints on the map. A cruel smile. Now he knows exactly where they're headed. When Jake and Drea finally reach Fort Simshof, the silence feels wrong. No guards, no gunfire. Inside, the hum of machines still echoes, powered by solar panels. Drea studies the blueprints and discovers the sound is coming from an air filtration system, keeping something sealed. Jake's eyes narrow. He finds a rope, cuts his bag into a harness, and lowers himself into a narrow air duct. Whatever waits below, it's still alive and still guarded by secrets the world forgot. Jake lowers himself carefully through the shaft, the fan spinning below like a blade waiting to kill. The rope begins to fray. At the same time, Drea reaches the solar panels and fires. She misses, then fires again. The panels shatter and the fan grinds to a halt just as Jake falls through, crashing hard but alive. The tunnel below is flooded. He takes one deep breath and dives, swimming through the dark until he finds a hatch. It's locked. Jake fights it open seconds before blacking out, dragging himself into the vault. And what he finds steals his breath all over again. The Mona Lisa isn't a painting. It's a nuclear bomb, the famous artwork painted across its shell. Jake reels, but Drea isn't surprised. She knew all along. August had lied to him, knowing Jake would have refused. The bomb was an American relic meant for Moscow, hidden away after the war. Drea insists August only wants to keep it out of warlord hands. But Jake doesn't believe any of them. To him, power always finds a way to destroy. When the rebels arrive to move the bomb, Jake drives off, tired, disillusioned. But as he stares at Drea's paper boat, something inside him shifts. He turns back. By the time he returns, the fort is a graveyard. The rebels are dead, the bomb stolen. Drea is wounded but alive. He patches her up, and together they decide to stop Vulov once and for all. They rig explosives and leave as the fort erupts behind them. That night, Vulov's train barrels through the fog. When he shoots the conductor, the train accelerates, straight toward its doom. On a bridge above, Jake leaps from his truck onto the speeding train, blasting guards and fighting through car after car until he faces Gorich. The brawl is brutal. Metal, blood, fire. Jake finally gains the upper hand, using Gorich as a shield as Vulov opens fire. Jake lunges, tackling Vulov into the control car. The two men trade savage blows until Jake pins him down and stabs his hand with a compass, ripping away the safety key. Ahead, Drea detonates the bridge. The rails collapse. Jake jumps clear as the train plunges into the abyss, the nuke exploding deep in the gorge. Drea sobs, thinking he's gone, until Jake appears from the smoke. They embrace, broken but alive. Weeks later, back in England, Jake returns the safety key to August, telling him the bomb rests at the bottom of the gorge. August nods, but as Jake sails away with Drea, finally free, finally at peace, the warlord locks the key in his vault, beside the real Mona Lisa. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.